So over the past few years, I've also had experience working in promotion for Mill Street Brewery, Canadian, things like that. So what the beer tent would be getting in terms basically sponsors. So for example, Mill Street might sponsor a few kegs and you would pay on a token basis or $2 per cup, whatever we decided would be affordable and accessible to students. Often they would send someone who basically pour the drafts and hand it over as part of a promotion job, so promo girls or promo boys. And then we were looking to more have tap staff facilitate the actual setup of it, facilitate basically what kind of beers and drafts does QT carry, and what partners do Queens, basically using it as an information hub. But then staffing it, we did have the intention of StuCon staffing some of the manning, and the hours are a little bit different than the homecoming itself. So it'd be more like a kickoff. What you would think in the student village would be a pancake kegger. We were kind of looking to relocate to that tent.
People seem to think that we're going to go through with this if we can't find a solution. So if this is such a scenario where we cannot find a solution, we won't implement these options. I believe in respecting students' health and respecting their religious beliefs, and I will never put any of those things at risk. I will never compromise on quality either. I don't think if we can find a kosher option that's terrible, it tastes awful, but it's technically kosher, I also don't want to implement that. Students should enjoy it just like they enjoy all other common ground products. That said, we think it's very possible. For starters, the gluten option, both teams agree on. We can move past that. The halal option is actually very possible. Halal is not hyper complicated to bring into effect. It's all about negotiating with suppliers, and suppliers are introducing more halal options, especially in the recent years, because there's a demand for it. There are people who want halal, and the problem is that we haven't been pursuing it because we've forgotten about it. And it's very easy to forget about accessibility issues. It's very easy to forget that the needs of certain religious groups aren't on the menu. The information people have said that it's impossible to implement is quite frankly untrue. The co-grow prep space is very large, they have lots of equipment, and they have excellent training. If people are concerned about us not being able to implement nut-free or kosher options, I question, well, how are we sure that we can deliver chicken that's safe at QP? How are we sure that we're not food poisoning people? There are all kinds of risks when you're selling products. You solve for them by creating really good training and by emphasizing the importance of following that training to staff. I think if you assign a staff member on co-grow with the sole job of having a kosher prep shift in a kosher prep area that's been koshered and followed, and they understand the importance of that, they can do it right. I think you can find prepackaged tasty nut-free options that may not be available in halal and kosher options, and so on and forth. But exploring it so that those students have the option to eat there is important, and we will find it. If other stores can do it, I don't know why the common ground can't. Look at the number of clients they serve every day. Look at the great options they have on the menu. It's about time they expanded and took on these challenges like any other serious retail establishment would.
So I think what has changed is the actual design of the co-curricular transcript that we're looking to implement. Ours would be AMS instituted rather than instituted by the Department of Student Affairs. And it would also be an opt-in, opt-outable. So if you were a student who just went through the motions, was basically at school to complete your education, not necessarily interested in getting involved in some of the fringe extracurriculars to enhance your experience at Queen's, you wouldn't have to pay that $4 to $5 a year. To kind of go to the compiling of which is basically that $4 to $5 fee is the IT infrastructure it takes to host the system. And we've done that research and consulted with who would probably build the system. Rather than it falling to the Commissioner of Internal Affairs, it's the Commission of Internal Affairs. And we're looking to rebuild that structure a little bit. We're looking to increase the hours of the club's commissioner and perhaps hire a deputy to be in charge and to help facilitate the process of the co-curricular transcript. We'd encourage clubs to create some kind of membership portfolio or a volunteer option, like a volunteer coordinator type of thing, who would input the position, the time spent, the hours, whatever we decide to put on that co-curricular transcript. So there's the athletics, there's certifications, and basically have someone just type it into a form online through the AMS website that would ultimately come into our backend, and then our commission and our deputy could take a look at when they come and print out, verify things, put that AMS stamp and seal on it to be stuck into their portfolio for jobs and grad school applications.
The idea behind endorsing candidates is we have never given the city politicians a reason to take us seriously. And if we begin endorsing candidates, we begin looking into their platforms and saying this is somebody that our students should support. And we begin mobilizing our students, suggesting people who they should support, and pairing that with a Get Out the Vote campaign. We give them a very serious reason to take us to take us seriously. In addition, we would not just be endorsing one candidate. We would be endorsing any and all candidates who are running on a student-friendly platform. The AMS has always been reactionary. The OMB appeal happens that costs tens of thousands of dollars, the one-bag garbage policy. We're always trying to work after something has happened. We want to be proactive and make candidates structure their platforms around the students.
The everyday part-time students who are working hard are the students who are interacting with their community. And we think they deserve and need extra training to have the tools to be able to work in their environment and to make a best environment for others. So one, I'm interested in implementing additional training for them, more positive space training.
Ongoing training was something you talked about a lot.
Ongoing training, mental health training. HR has been looking into doing additional ongoing training throughout the year. I think this is really great. One, it gives them tools to make their jobs easier, to help them help other students. Two, I think it makes them better individuals going forward in life. This is training you never forget. And I think we also take a new sort of perspective, a new awareness of these issues. So this training, in addition to our awareness of the fact that, yes, issues of sexual assault and problems like that are a thing that we need to look for in areas like the underground, on campus, and so on and forth. Issues like accessibility are a big one that people often forget about and that we've really tried to focus on in our platform to show that we have an open mind. So not just like the accessibility of food, but physical accessibility of spaces. The fact that the underground has a set of stairs going down into it. The fact that the JDUC, supposed to be the Student Life Center, isn't accessible to someone in a wheelchair. These are all fresh perspectives we're bringing. We don't want to capitalize on it as a political point. It wasn't something we wanted to mark on our platform as, look, we've hit the equity issue, we can move on, pass go. We wanted it to be something that's interwoven throughout, something that we're conscious of, something that we're going to contribute to, but not something that we're going to raise as a political argument. I want to do these things by default. I think all three of us do them in every one of our endeavors by default. That's how we're going to continue. Equity should simply be interwoven. So here's the promise I'm going to make. If I can be the operations person for the AMS, I'm going to do one. I'm going to do an investigation to see if we can find a way to make nachos available before 8 p.m. and maintain the quality at taps. I don't know how, but I'm going to look into it. Whether we need additional equipment or we need to streamline the nacho process, we have the technology, we can do it. Two, I want to rename nachos the Alma Nacho Society on the menu. I think students would like that. I think it's indicative of the kind of movement we've seen here. And three, I would hang a sign saying home of the Alma Nacho Society above the QP bar. That is my promise to #NachoGate and #Alma Nacho Society.